Thanksgiving dinner, a battlefield of expectations, casseroles, and relatives judging your gravy technique.
Are you gonna eat that?
You walk into the grocery store with a game plan, a shopping cart, and the kind of optimism that can only exist before you've tasted store-bought stuffing. The pre-made side aisle calls to you like a siren song. No peeling, no chopping, no crying over a cutting board at 6 a.m. because you forgot how emotional cutting onions can be. Sounds perfect, right?
Hey, who left this bowl of onions here?
But here's the thing. Not all pre-made sides are created equal. Some are legitimate lifesavers, the kind that make your relatives ask for the recipe, while you smile quietly to yourself.
Game over.
Others, straight-up Thanksgiving betrayals. Mashed potatoes with the texture of kindergarten glue. Cranberry sauce that tastes like it's harboring a decades-old grudge. And stuffing so dry, it could double as packing material. Today we're calling out the 5 worst pre-made Thanksgiving sides that should be taken off the shelves forever, and crowning 5 heroes that'll actually make you look like you tried. But before we dive into the turkey-scented chaos, hit that subscribe button so you never walk into a holiday dinner unprepared. Your in-laws are watching. Don't mess this up. It's time to roll up your sleeves. We're saving Thanksgiving, one side at a time.
Deal.
Coming in at number 5 on our Please Stop Bringing This to Dinner list is Ocean Spray Jellied Cranberry Sauce, the wiggly cylindrical cranberry log that slides out of a can like it's auditioning for a horror movie. Let's talk ingredients because they're fascinating. You've got cranberries, and then immediately after that, a double dose of sugar syrups, high fructose corn syrup and corn syrup, because apparently one type of liquid sweetness wasn't enough. A quarter cup serving packs 24 grams of added sugar. For context, that's more sugar than the same amount of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Nothing says wholesome holiday tradition like outperforming dessert in the sugar department. And while some people defend it with the kind of loyalty usually reserved for childhood pets, the internet is less forgiving. Reddit threads and TikTok taste tests are full of people describing it as too sweet to taste like actual fruit, with complaints about a weird perfume aftertaste, and comparisons to jelly from a hospital tray. Whole Foods won't even stock this item because it doesn't meet their ingredient standards. And if you browse reviews online, you'll find an alarming number of complaints about dented cans and warped lids, which adds a fun layer of is this safe to eat anxiety to your Thanksgiving prep. Bottom line, this isn't cranberry sauce. It's a cranberry-flavored sugar sculpture held together by nostalgia and the structural integrity of a tin can. If you want something that actually tastes like cranberries grew on a vine and not in a lab, keep walking past the wiggly can. Sliding into the number 4 spot on our, well, that was a mistake list, is Trader Joe's gluten-free stuffing mix. A product designed to solve one dietary problem while creating several new sensory ones. Look, we get it. Gluten-free options are important. But this particular box of hope and sadness has been dragged across Reddit like it personally offended the internet. One brave soul reported, "The GF stuffing tastes nasty. It smelled like socks. Toss that batch." When your Thanksgiving side smells like laundry day, something has gone horribly wrong. Another user didn't hold back saying, "The seasoning packet has a very strange flavor. I literally gagged when I tasted it." The preparation process sounds like a culinary horror story. Reviewers describe it starting out soupy, then morphing into some kind of sad, mushy blob that can't decide what texture it wants to commit to. One user summed it up perfectly. "I found it salty yet without much flavor, and the texture was mushy when preparing it as directed." The mix uses rice flour, brown rice flour, tapioca, and potato. All perfectly fine gluten-free ingredients on paper. But in practice, the texture goes grainy or crumbly the second it gets wet. And the flavor has been described as bitter, soapy, and oddly off in a way that makes you question whether something expired in 2019. Bottom line, if your gluten-free stuffing is getting more Reddit complaints than your passive-aggressive aunt, it's time to find a new brand. Your guests deserve better than something that smells like old gym socks. If Trader Joe's gluten-free stuffing failed because of texture, Mrs. Cubison's fails because of, well, everything else. This box stuffing has been around since 1947, which sounds impressive until you realize that longevity doesn't always equal quality. Sometimes it just means people keep buying it out of misplaced loyalty and fading childhood memories. Nostalgia is a powerful drug. The red flags start before you even cook it. One reviewer noted that the packaging is so flimsy, it won't even cut open with scissors, which feels like a perfect metaphor for the experience you're about to have. The instructions call for a measly 1.5 cups of broth, which results in stuffing so dry that multiple testers described it as desert dry. And when people tried to fix it by adding more liquid, still dry, still bland, still the culinary equivalent of giving up. The bread cubes themselves are another problem. Instead of soft, fluffy pieces that actually absorb flavor, you get what reviewers have lovingly described as crumbs and crust, like the bottom of a bread bag. You know, the part you usually throw away because even the dog won't eat it. A professional chef who tested multiple box stuffings ranked Mrs. Cubbison's dead last, stating, "I have to say this brand was my least favorite of any I tried. It was dry and lacked flavor." In a separate taste test from Mashed, reviewers reached for words like rancid, boring, and tastes like a dusty pantry. One person said it looks like dog food, and honestly, that's generous. If your stuffing makes people nostalgic for the box it came in, it's time to retire the recipe. Mrs. Cubbison may have been around since 1947, but that doesn't mean she needs to stick around for 2025. At number 2 on our why did I think this was a good idea list is Stouffer's frozen home-style mashed potatoes, the side dish that promises comfort and delivers confusion. In a blind taste test of 8 store-bought mashed potato brands, Stouffer's came in dead last. The verdict? Its frozen mashed potatoes didn't taste like potatoes, missing that quintessential flavor and texture. One reviewer, clearly at a loss for diplomatic words, summed up the entire experience with a single word: no. The box claims these are potatoes mashed with cream and pepper, which sounds lovely. In reality, testers said the flavor was earthy but not potato-like, as if all of that potatoey flavor was stripped away during production. There's no butter richness, no garlic, and not even enough salt to fake it. And the texture? Forget fluffy, buttery clouds. This is more like instant mashed potatoes that had the air whipped out of them. One review described it as having instant mashed potato vibes, rather than anything remotely homemade, which is the exact opposite of what homestyle is supposed to mean. Bottom line, these mashed potatoes are the Thanksgiving equivalent of showing up to the dinner table and forgetting why you came. If your side dish doesn't even taste like potatoes, it's time to reach for literally any other option in the freezer aisle. And here it is, the crown jewel of Thanksgiving disasters, the side dish that should come with a warning label: Stouffer's frozen green bean casserole. This isn't just bad, this is legendarily bad. In multiple professional taste tests, this casserole ranked dead last. And not in a, well, someone had to be last way. More like a, we need to have a serious conversation about how this made it to shelves way. One reviewer from the Daily Meal literally warned that the smell alone might discourage you from trying this product altogether. We're talking about a pungent, onion-forward steam cloud that fills your kitchen like someone set off a fog machine in your grandma's basement in November during a power outage. Nothing says happy holidays like questioning whether your smoke detector works. Brave souls who powered through identified 3 catastrophic failures, stating, "The beans are mushy and stringy, a texture combination that should be physically impossible, yet here we are." The Daily Meal testers called it a gag-worthy consistency, which is the kind of phrase that should never appear in a food review unless something has gone very wrong. And the fried onions give up on life. They're supposed to be crispy, golden, and delightful. Instead, they dissolve into a wet, sad paste the second they touch the casserole. One user on Reddit summed it up perfectly. Not crispy, just sog. A smell that raises existential questions. Multiple testers reported that the onion aroma was so aggressively funky, they genuinely debated whether the product had spoiled before they even cooked it. That's not a side dish. That's a cry for help. If you serve this at Thanksgiving, people will talk about it. Just not in the can I get the recipe way. More in the remember, that year we had to open all the windows in November way. Okay, enough about the bad. Let's get to the good stuff. Kicking off our actually worth buying list is the cranberry sauce that proves you don't need a can-shaped jelly log to celebrate Thanksgiving. Trader Joe's whole berry cranberry sauce. Where most store-bought cranberry sauces taste like sugar wearing a cranberry costume, Trader Joe's version actually tastes like cranberries. Revolutionary, we know. With Trader Joe's whole berry cranberry sauce, you're getting real whole berries that look like they came from an actual plant, a deep, rich color that doesn't scream artificial dye, a texture that says I'm food instead of I'm a science experiment, and the price? A whopping $1.99 for a 12-ounce jar. That's one of the cheapest holiday upgrades you can make that doesn't involve reheating leftovers. Reviewers consistently rank this sauce near the top of taste tests because it actually nails the sweet-tart balance cranberries are famous for. Testers describe it as having the most tart, real cranberry flavor and say it tastes just like homemade, which is exactly what you want people to think when you crack open a jar you bought for $2. Let them believe you slaved over a stovetop. You've earned it. Unlike the jellied can nightmare we mentioned earlier, this sauce holds its shape on a plate without wobbling like it's nervous. And because it's whole berry, it adds actual texture instead of sliding around your plate like it's trying to escape. If Ocean Spray is a sugar bomb stuck in 1986, Trader Joe's whole berry cranberry sauce is the modern upgrade. Fresh, tart, bright, and shockingly easy to pass off as homemade. Coming in at number 4 on our actually worth your money list is the undisputed, undefeated heavyweight champion of box stuffing, Stovetop. Traditional sage stuffing mix. You know the one, the red box. The stuffing your mom made, your grandma made, and the one you'll reach for at 4 p.m. on Thanksgiving when you realize you forgot to prep literally anything. Panic really is the best seasoning. This stuffing has been holding Thanksgiving together since the 1970s, when General Foods launched it as a revolutionary concept. Stuffing you can make on the stove, instead of stuffing it inside a bird and praying nothing goes wrong. And here's the thing. In multiple modern blind taste tests, including one by Bon Appetit, it still destroys the competition. Reviewers described it as having the best eye appeal for a standalone stuffing, being very aromatic the moment you open the package, and tasting fluffy, herby, and super satisfying. It's got that classic sage and butter aroma that screams Thanksgiving louder than your aunt asking when you're getting married. And unlike cheaper knockoffs, it actually tastes like food instead of dusty bread cubes that gave up. And here's the real kicker. It only costs around $3 to $4, and it's ready in 5 minutes. No chopping onions, no crying over stale bread, no existential crisis over whether your stuffing is too dry or too moist, or exists in some cursed in-between state. Fluffy, savory, foolproof. Stovetop doesn't just taste good, it tastes like Thanksgiving. The kind of Thanksgiving where people actually want seconds. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And after 50 plus years, Stovetop still isn't broken. If your Thanksgiving spread needs one reliable side that quietly steals the show while you're busy panicking about the turkey, this is it. New England Cranberries Colonial Cranberry Sauce is made in small batches in Maine with just 3 ingredients: whole cranberries, cane sugar, and water. No high fructose corn syrup, no mystery additives, just actual cranberries. In an independent blind taste test of 21 cranberry sauces, Epicurious crowned this the best plain cranberry sauce you can buy at the store. When professional food snobs pick your product, that's legitimacy. Reddit's Thanksgiving veterans agree, praising it for nailing the sweet-tart balance that actually complements turkey instead of overwhelming it. Ingredient Inspector ranked it closest to homemade for skipping the junk and sticking to real ingredients. The whole berry texture looks impressive. The flavor cuts through heavy dishes perfectly, and you can just transfer it to a pretty dish and take credit. While everyone else frantically simmers cranberries at midnight, you've got the effortless side that makes guests ask, "Wait, did you make this?" New England Cranberries Colonial Cranberry Sauce. Because sometimes the easiest side becomes your secret weapon. We are officially entering elite stuffing territory, and sitting at number 2 on our actually amazing Thanksgiving sides list is Pepperidge Farm Herb Seasoned Cube Stuffing. The stuffing that separates the amateurs from the people who actually care. This one does something most pre-made sides don't dare to do. It makes you cook, just a little, and the payoff, absolutely worth it. Unlike the instant mixes where you pour boiling water over sad, dusty crumbs and pray for the best, Pepperidge Farm gives you actual bread cubes. Big, uniform, crouton-style cubes that hold their shape like they have self-respect. Taste testers across multiple sites rank it at the very top of stuffing tests, with one reviewer getting genuinely emotional. Savory, satisfying, and an undeniable shoe-in for first place. Here's what makes it different. You saute onions and celery in butter before mixing in the broth, which gives it the kind of flavor, layering that pour and stir mixes can only dream of. The cubes absorb the broth without collapsing into mush, creating stuffing that's moist in the center, but not mushy, creamy where it counts, golden and crunchy on the edges, aka the perfect bite. At $3.79 per bag, it's affordable enough to serve a crowd or to hoard for yourself and make stuffing sandwiches with the leftovers. Yes, stuffing sandwiches. Don't knock it until you've lived it. Bottom line, when a box stuffing is so good that families can't tell it's not your grandma's recipe, you know you've found the one. We have finally reached the top, the number 1 pre-made Thanksgiving side. The side dish that turns even hardcore, I make everything from scratch, home cooks into full-blown microwave believers. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Evans' original mashed potatoes. These aren't instant flakes from a pouch that you reconstitute with water and shame. These are the real deal, actual potatoes, real milk, real butter, already mashed to fluffy, creamy perfection. All you have to do is peel back the plastic film, microwave for a few minutes, give it a stir, and suddenly you have mashed potatoes that taste like somebody spent an hour peeling, boiling, and mashing. Taste testers can barely contain themselves. One reviewer said, "They're rich, creamy, potatoey, and all you have to do is heat them up." Another reviewer admitted to walking around their office with a spoon, forcing coworkers to try them because they genuinely couldn't believe how good they were. The texture's thick, creamy, and exactly what mashed potatoes should be. Not gluey, not watery, not weirdly elastic like they're auditioning for a science experiment, looking at you, stuffers. And unlike other pre-made potatoes that taste like sadness mixed with preservatives, Bob Evans actually tastes like potatoes. If you don't tell anyone they're pre-made, everyone at your table will 100% assume you mashed them by hand. They'll compliment your technique, they'll ask for your secret, and you can smile knowingly and say, "Oh, just a little butter, a little love." The package even flexes its title, America's #1 refrigerated mashed potatoes. And honestly, they earned it. Fast, Foolproof. Freakishly delicious. Bob Evans Original Mashed Potatoes. The only Thanksgiving shortcut that no one will ever call a shortcut. Your secret is safe with us. And there you have it. The Thanksgiving truth has been uncovered. We've exposed the imposters, the mushy potatoes, the sugar jello cranberry crimes, and we've revealed the sides that could actually save your holiday. Your mission now is simple. Choose wisely, protect your plate, and for the love of gravy, never bring Stauffer's mashed potatoes to Thanksgiving. If you learned something today, or if we saved your dinner, hit subscribe and drop a comment with the side you refuse to negotiate on. This investigation is closed.